look at how we closed the week. Well, this week turned out to be a bit of a snap in an otherwise consistent momentum that we have been seeing over the last few weeks, primarily the pressure coming in from the financials. We definitely saw that in trade today as well, and most of the financials sat out and continued to see weakness in trade. And other than that, it was metals where we saw some pressure building up as well. So let me take you through some of the names. Axis was down about 4%. ICICI, for example, a couple of the others on the banking front, RBL, HDFC Bank, all of them losing ground. Kotak Mahindra as well, add that to the list. SBI not holding out either. From the metals, the steel majors, Tata Steel, JSPL, seeing some correction coming in. Otherwise, what has otherwise been a good run. Similarly, even the pharma names totally sat out this week. Majors especially definitely lagging behind on what market men are calling essentially a pause in an otherwise stellar rally that we've seen on those pharma names. Other losers in trade, Wipro, L&T, for example, Reliance down 1.5% there. Tata Motors didn't manage to hold ground today. Tata Consumer Products also correcting, as with the Biocon, and a Hero Motor also just down a touch in today's session. But let's take a look at where we managed to see some strength. The markets overall closing around that 11,300 mark, so not necessarily seeing a free fall post what we saw in global markets overnight, managing to kind of just close around that range. We saw some names hold out, so Maruti, Ashok Leyland, for example, managed to see some respite, but the gains were limited in today's trade, and have to say that. We saw marginal move on the likes of some of the auto ancillary names, or Siemens, for example. And Z was just about flat, as was a Dish TV. So a couple of these select counters that managed to see a little bit of buying coming in. Otherwise, the trend was overall fairly weak. Two-wheelers sat out. We saw ITC correct today, Reliance not contribute, and pharma, metals, that's what we spoke about, some of the pockets of the market that continue to trade fairly weak. In fact, if we take a look at the the stocks that managed to take a hit this week, most of them are actually in the financial basket. Other major moves that stood out for the week include, of course, Vodafone Idea, which continues to be, of course, hog all the news space around how they're going to be trying to fundraise and really battle with what's expected now on the AGR dues front. So that's really the key takeaway for the week gone by, and in Friday's session as a whole, also just incredibly quiet. Just running through any other major, roundups really, but IT snapping a 3-week gaining streak, Pharma seeing the worst week since towards the end of March. And Nifty Realty also snapping that 6-week gaining streak to post its worst week since the 10th of May, just to give you an indicator of the kind of performance we saw across the board. Metals saw their worst week since 14th of June, for example. Auto also snapped an 11-week gaining streak, and the Nifty Bank snapped a 2-week gaining streak. That's the worst week they've seen since the 24th of May. Mid-caps also snapping that winning run, but like I said, overall the pressure still muted. Let's see how things progress when we open on Monday.